Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, Jeet Kune Rebel, and welcome to, where are we? I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 289. All right, so let me just check and see. Everybody give me a thumbs up if the audio is good and if the video is good. Let's just make sure, because, I'm on the solo tip here. So let's see. Mark David is here. Mark Black. Terry tried it on YouTube. Okay. Jamie Sparling. All right. Okay. So can you guys hear me? Ron's here. Norman Taylor. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. So those of you, I'm pretty sure Ron Goldstein, Norman Taylor. I'm not too sure if who else that's on here would have recognized that clip from the Warriors, but I preface it because it's a 1980s deal, and what we're going to talk about today is the cool factor. So here's the thing. I wonder how many people thought that today's broadcast, because of its title, was going to be about Bruce Lee's swagger, let's call it, all right, or about his level of confidence or something like that, right? If that was you, I'm sorry to disappoint. Instead, I want to talk to you about something that it seems to be really difficult for some people in the JKD world to grasp. If you're like me, you have often read people commenting about, oh, if you change something in your training, then you should call it something other than Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, right? You know what I'm talking about, okay? So let me explain something to you. Now, let me put you in the correct frame of mind. So you got to be able, if you're able, cast your mind back in time, mid to late 1960s. An era which marked the height of the counterculture movement with the rise of the hippie, well, I'm talking about here in the US, with the rise of the hippie culture, pharmaceutical experimentation, and the embrace of free love. That counterculture challenged most, if not all, of the traditional societal norms and values. The counterculture also introduced a plethora of new slang terms and phrases. So words like groovy, terms like far out, peace and love, these things took on new meanings, and they were commonly used to express approval, excitement, and in some instances to express a sense of unity and, well, in nonviolence in some areas. This is the era into which Jeet Kune Do was born. Everybody was into expressing themselves. That's one of the reasons why there was so much talk about JKD itself being a vehicle for personal expression. JKD was not owned by any one individual or by any one group as such. Well, by any one individual. It was for everybody. It was for everybody who was working his butt off to get to his own personal truth, his own level of actualization. So that should sound familiar. If you've listened to how Bruce Lee described his art, if you've listened to him in the Pierre, excuse me, in the Pierre Berton interview, if you've read Bruce Lee's own words. So why doesn't that simple fact resonate with some people, right? What is their problem? In the copywriting world, there's the late great guy named Gary Halbert. Gary Halbert used to talk about the carbonized cranium syndrome, right? And so it seems to me that some of these people up here in their brains, it's just carbonized shite, really, is the best way to express it. So try to understand the environment of the California JKD scene in the late 1960s in the midst of this counterculture revolution, with Bruce Lee and Dan Inosanto as the main instructors, the main sources for training. JKD was about developing a personalized experience between you, your teacher, and the guys in your training group. Everybody was aware of this, and everybody understood this idea of personalized experience. So it would not have therefore been inappropriate for people who used the term JKD for anything that was cool to talk in terms of your JKD. So Bustillo's JKD, Bremer's JKD, or something like that. Nobody thought of that as being something separate and something distinct from everybody else's JKD, or even separate and distinct from what Bruce Lee or Dan Inosanto were teaching them. It was just the understanding that everybody was having their own experience. Okay, so I hope you're keeping up with me thus far. Now, on July 20th of 73, everything changes, because now Bruce Lee is gone, and so it's pretty much Inosanto who's left somewhat in charge. And so the decision is made, there was already the backyard thing, but now the decision is made to open up the academy on Normandy Avenue. Now, that is 73. Now you got to change the context again into the 1980s and even the 1990s, because now the original group, or some members of the original group, things have developed, and they are now able to form their own training groups. So now we have more people passing on this idea of personal experience. Now, some of these people, their names are not as well known as Bruce Lee's or even as Dan Inosanto's. So maybe they put their name in front of the art. So Ted Wong at Jeet Kune, for example. But that doesn't mean that they're doing something different. And by the way, even if they did do something different, because they take something out that, for whatever reason, right? Maybe they can't make it work for them. They put something else in because that works for them. But it wasn't originally from Bruce Lee or from Inosanto or whoever their source of instruction was. That's not a new JKD. You see, so this idea of your JKD doesn't mean that it's not descended from Bruce Lee. It just means that it's your experience. It's what you're getting out of it. Different people in your training group are capable of understanding different things and are capable of performing at different levels. That's the personal experience. Otherwise, what are we creating? We're just creating robots, and we're violating, when Bruce Lee talks about you're not performing, technique number one out of sequence A or whatever. You're supposed to be expressing the technique. So you got to understand this idea. And and you got to understand also where it comes from, what it was born out, the era where everybody was cool. Things were cool. It was all about express yourself and can you dig it? So that continues. But if you're somebody who is afraid to develop your own stuff with intelligence, and I say with intelligence because, like I told Bill Burner last night, I can't go like this and call this my Jeet Kune Do. This is now how I do a jab, and it's Dwight Wood's Jeet Kune Do, because that is a ridiculous way to try to throw something called a jab. It's got to be with intelligence. If you're afraid that you might be doing it wrong, if you don't stick to whatever program it was that was handed down to you, then you're not with it, man. I hate to tell you, right? So I'm going to leave you with this quote that James Bishop will tell us where it came from, right? But it's attributed somewhat to Bruce Lee. And it says, go towards self-actualization rather than self-image actualization. Search within yourself for honest self-expression. Be cool. So I'm going to leave you with that until next week. Next week will be kind of a continuation of this, but we're going to take a look at, dare I say, how the JKD philosophy, without people even recognizing it, well, some people do recognize it, has changed the MMA game and taken it beyond Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But that's until another time. Okay? So what say you? Did I do a good job of explaining the cool factor in Jeet Kune Do? Please let me know what you think in the comments below. That's all I got to say about this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video, get the word out about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. At paypal.me, the paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami, the Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1 is available, paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami. You can support the program over at, let me get it pulled up here, jkdrebel.com. Click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you'll see stuff like this. We have about 4 different versions of the coffee mug, and then we got a whole bunch of different t-shirts and hoodies and all that stuff. That's jkdrebel.com. Click on the Rebel Gear link and visit the store. On Friday, 6 p.m., JKD Dialogues episode with Rob Roy McGregor. Interesting guy. I think you guys are going to enjoy my conversation with him. I know I will, and you'll get to know more about him right alongside my getting to know more about him. All right, so until then, the next episode, this is Dwight Woods, the JKD Rebel, signing off. Today is a red day, as you can see. There you go. Okay. All right, so enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you guys on Friday. Take care. Be safe. Talk soon.